I know I always say it, but it does sound like a morning theme show tune, doesn't it? Like, it just does. Good morning, everyone. It is me, Carl K, and you are watching The Business Show, because why watch crap TV where you can watch quack TV with me, Quackers? If you are watching live, please jump in the comments, say good morning to me. And if you are watching on replay, as I say every time, please put hashtag replay, because I like to know who stalks me. And we are live on YouTube. I've tried going live on YouTube. This show and one of the last ones. See what happens there. And on YouTube, you can catch every replay from every season. We are on season 3 of The Business Show. So go and check that out on YouTube. I have some absolutely awesome guests this season. And make sure you go and check it out. But it is going really cool. And one of the things that I've done with the show is everyone that knows about me is that I'm an avid networker. And this is kind of my official announcement of this. So if anyone that's been watching the show for a while will know that last year I did Coaches Week. So it was literally Monday to Friday, every morning. It was a different business coach of a different caliber, of a different style, so on and so on. And I got all them on. And what I'm doing is this time, I'm going to be doing network leaders. So on the 11th of next month, Monday to Friday, I have 5 network leaders. So they are founders of networking organizations. You know, maybe they are the face of the brand. I've got 5 amazing businesses lined up. I'm not going to promote them straight away. Get them to 100% confirming things first, because we are chatting to a couple of them, fitting it in the diary. But 11th of April, it is going to be Network Leaders Week. And it's a Coaches Week then. It's going to be Network Leaders Week. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Good morning, Mr. Paul Newton. Hope you are well, sir. The man who can steal your shit. Also the author of Mental Theft. And check out his podcast, Newton's Nuggets, because I'm on it. Go check it out. So I am really looking forward to that. And I really, really can't wait. It's going to be absolutely amazing. And the people that I'm chatting to, some of the stuff we're going to be talking about, because I was chatting to a couple of people about the idea, and it's like, oh, well, what we're going to talk about? Like, I went, why you started it, why you found it, what makes you different, everything like that. Networking is such a big part of people's businesses, despite what Stephen Bartlett says. And if no one knows what I mean by that, go Google it. They don't believe in networking, or should I say a certain kind of networking, which I don't 100% disagree with him in, but yeah. Paul, could people please stop listening to things I've done? It scares me a bit. No, you've robbed a bank, wrote a book, done a podcast, public speaker, magician. No, I won't stop listening, Paul. Honestly, power. It's what you've got. Anyway, this week so far we have had the fabulous. Oh, God, that's really professional. I may have bloody forgotten the name. Carlton. We had Carlton on the show. He's going to frigging kill me for forgetting that. We had Carlton on the show on Tuesday, and then today we've got a fabulous Tom Perkins, who I'll be bringing on very, very shortly. We're going to be talking all things websites. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Remember, like I said, you can catch every replay on the YouTube channel, so go and check that out. Anyway, without further ado, where is he? Morning, Tom.
Morning. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you, mate. I'm good.
I'm so glad that you agreed to come on this. I know I had to reschedule you. You did book in a few weeks ago, and I had to reschedule you. I'll hold my hands up. Tom, before we crack on, sir, can you tell us who you are and what you do?
I can, yeah. So my name's Tom, as you said. Company's called Evolve. I make websites that generate leads for small businesses.
That is in a real nutshell. Like that, I didn't even get a mouthful of my drink with that. That is in a real nutshell. Honestly, I like this. Paul's like, yay, I like Tom. I bet you
good to see Paul.
I love it. Paul's the only person I've seen with like a vector / illustrated image that looks exactly like him. You know, like it is so like him, it's ridiculous. You know, so Tom, how long have you been in business for? Curious.
2007 I set up.
How long's that?
So that is 15 years this year.
Oh, aren't you old?
I know.
15 years this year? Christ, I'm only 26. Just wanted to make
you were 11 when I set up, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, God, that's mad. That's mad. But no, so, okay, how have you been finding it with websites and things like that? Because obviously we've tried before. How have you been finding it? Because obviously, pretty much I believe every business owner now understands they need a website. But, you know, how's it been? Especially over the last few years. How's it been going?
Yeah, good. Really good. So I set up I trained as a graphic designer before that. I worked as a freelance graphic designer. set up my agency on my company in 2007, and to start with, offered everything I thought I could get paid to design. And there's a kind of, I think there's a lesson in business there. Certainly it was for me. You know, I tried to do everything, and realised quite quickly, actually, you can't be an expert in 100 things. Like, it's just not possible. I mean, it might be for the odd genius, but I'm not a genius. So, you know, in 2012, I said, right, I'm going to focus on websites, just do that, and I'll completely change my business model to be subscription based rather than hourly rate.
Yeah.
Before, cash flow was all over the place, workload was all over the place. They were never in sync. So I launched Evolve beginning of 2012, so 10 years ago this year. And that was a game changer, because all of a sudden I had predictable income, I had predictable cash flow, I had a really good business model that was scalable, that worked really well, and meant that my clients were paying me every month. So I could look after them and give them great service every month. Whereas so many businesses, all they're interested in is those big tickets, those big sales. And they'll do a job for that client, and that client is like, you know, that's all they think about. And then once that job's done, they're not interested in them. They're interested in the next one that's going to pay them 5 or 10 grand for a site. So it's a really nice model, and it means my life's, you know, relatively easy looking after clients. I can just concentrate on that part rather than worrying about cash flow or, you know, or business or sales or all of that stuff, and just focus on clients.
And to be honest, I think it's gives you a bit of like the upper edge on the fact that you're a graphic designer or are a graphic designer, you know, because you can make them look pretty. You know, the amount of web builder company people, we'll go with that, that, not saying they don't, but then they just basically have a repertoire of templates, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, my website's a template. Was very picky with it, but people really don't get that, and then they were like, "Oh, why is my website like every Tom, Dick, and Harry's?" I went on 3 individual different coaches' websites. This is genuine fact. I went on there. I was like, "Oh, look for a bit of inspiration." Look on them. All 3 of them are the exact same template. All 3 of them, and I was like, "Wow, that is mad." Yeah. I bet you see that quite a lot, don't you?
Yeah, I do. And someone said this to me a couple of weeks ago, actually, that it's really unusual to see a designer that's learned to code. Yeah. You know, so like you say, you know, so much of the time, you know, they're developers that have had to learn to design. And I kind of think you can't teach design. Like I obviously studied design, but to be honest, they didn't really, it's one of those things, they didn't really teach you how to do it. You could either do it or you couldn't. If you could do it, they could improve you a bit. But I don't think you can teach it. I think you either know how to make something look good, you either got an eye for that or you haven't. So yeah, it is a useful skill to have for sure.
Yeah, to be fair, do you know, going on a bit of a tangent massively. This is the same what I say for people doing social media. You know, there's a lot of people that offer business services and so on and so on. They bring more services in, they bring social media in. And it's not what they do. And it's like, if it's not what you do, don't do it, because you will not do a good job of it. And then that comes back on your credibility. Yeah. And like you're saying, looking back at these bigger clients on the cash flow and everything else like that, you know, it all comes down to credibility at the end of the day, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it does. And, you know, I think that's a really good... I was talking about this the other day. Tuesday morning, I was at a networking event, and there was someone there who'd not long ago started their business, and she asked for tips around the table, and my tip was, get your business model right. Get your business model right, and everything else will be so much easier. You know, I said to her, I work on a subscription model, and she was in HR, and I said, you know, your business obviously lends itself to subscription model quite nicely as well. And she said, yeah, that's a really good idea. I could do that. And then if any clients want anything other than subscription, I could just vary that as the need comes. And I said to her, don't.
No.
Don't stick to what you do. That's what you're saying. Stick to what you do. Do that bloody well. And if it's not what you do, don't bend to clients, because you're not right for that client. Just say, no, I'm sorry. This is what I do. This is why I do it. If I'm not right for you, there's other people who work in the way you want to work. Don't think you need to take on every client, because it never ends well, does it?
No. Sticking on to the graphic designer front, actually, I was chatting to a graphic designer, it was months ago, absolute months ago. And it was like, oh, I'm at capacity, like, for work and retainer, and I don't really know what, like, I can do. I don't know if I want to bring someone in. I went, double your prices.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I went, double your prices.
Yeah.
Well, what, I lose like half the people? I went, yeah.
Exactly.
You're doing half the work for the same amount of money.
Exactly.
Fuck yeah, that's actually quite, like, that's quite obvious, isn't it? I was like, it's not, because people are scared to do it.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, you might get 1 or 2 clients that say, oh, I can't afford a complete unit increase. I said, then that's when you talk about a time scale before it gets to that price and so on and so on. I said, but double your prices. If you lose it, I said, you might not lose anyone. They might all go, yeah, that's fine. Then, don't triple it. But then you'd be like, well, I'm getting double the amount of money now. Yeah. And they go, oh, well, yeah, okay, actually. Then we can look at something else.
Yeah.
And it really, really is just one of them things where it's like you need to look at, just like you're saying, the model of them things. The first question I ask a lot of new business owners, in particular new clients, is what's the first rule of business? And I always get branding or pricing or whatever. I go, make money. It's the first rule of business. All the other stuff is like admin of starting a business. First rule of business is make money.
Yeah.
And they go, oh, I'm like,
you see there? Oh, hold on.
Yeah, sell like crazy. Yeah.
Have you read that?
I haven't actually.
Good, really good. And that's one of the things he says in that. He's like, whatever business you're in, your job is sales. Doesn't matter what business you're in, whether you're in making clothes or plumbing or whatever. If you're not selling, or if your business isn't selling, you haven't got a business.
Yeah.
It's so true, isn't it?
Yeah,
so many people concentrate on that. I used to have companies come to me, like obsess about their logo. And I love logos. I love designing logos. But let's be honest, a great logo on its own is not going to make or break a business. If your business model's crap and you can't sell, you can have the best logo in the world, but your business is not going to succeed. Like, concentrate on some of those fundamentals.
No, yeah. You're absolutely, completely right. It's one of the biggest things I bought. You can't see it because my name is covering it. On the bottom, underneath all these books, is the very, very first book I bought when I started business. And it's literally Starting and Running a Business for Dummies. It's one of the For Dummy books. I got it.
Yeah. I
think I read, I skipped through to the bits that I needed to brush up on. Those are the bits that I skipped through to because I'm not really an avid reader. I still use it as a bit of a reference, like you're saying with that book and them little tips. I'm like, do you know what? Like, yeah, it's just them obvious little things like return models. People are scared of return models. I'm like, why? And like you're saying with your websites, going back to your websites, it works. Yeah. And it several reasons it works. One of the obvious ones is, as a consumer, as a client, as whatever, what the money is every month. You can account for it in your cash flow. Yeah. And it's just so important. It's just such an important thing. Just got the fabulous Yellow Tuxedo commenting. Interesting chaps. Agree with the design creative thought process. It's like photographers. Anyone could take a photo, but only a few photographers have photographer's eye. Completely. And one of the biggest pet peeves for photographers, I've worked with a couple of photographers. Yeah, a couple. And they say, everyone thinks they're a photographer now with the phone. But they're not saying they can't be, but they're not a traditional, what is classed as a photographer. You're just very good at taking photos. There's a lot more that comes with it.
You know what? I used to know a photographer who was incredible. He was terrible at business, but he was an incredible photographer. And you could get 5 photographers at the same situation, trying to photograph the same person, and 4 of them would get a terrible shot. And this guy just had that knack of capturing just that lovely expression or that genuine laugh or whatever it was, and it was such a gift.
Well, I love that. So, like, on the topic of you with websites, then obviously, like, what would you say are a couple of tips with you knowing that for people's websites? So you'll get a lot of people that maybe do their own websites, or things like that, or maybe they have someone build them and then they just look after themselves, update it, that kind of thing. What are just a couple of quick tips for like people with websites? What would you recommend?
See, I think there's 5 steps to a proper website, and I won't go in detail with all of them. But the first one is obviously to get found. You see your website, like we said about a logo, it's no good having the best website in the world if it doesn't get found by search engines. Because let's be honest, search engines provide the majority of traffic for any website. So it needs to be found. Once you get there, it needs to make a great first impression. It needs to work on mobile and tablet. You need to have credibility, so testimonials and case studies. And then the bit that everyone misses is encouraging action. Having a decent offer that encourages people to take action. Because again, you can have the nicest website in the world. You can talk about all your services, but if you don't encourage someone to get in touch, what's the point? You're not going to get the customers. On the search engine thing, the biggest tip that I would say is look at every page on your website, particularly your key service pages. So if you've got like coaching packages on your site, for example, for each of those pages, they're your key pages. For each of those pages, think about those in isolation. Think about them like you do your homepage. On that page, quite often, if your website is working properly with search, then if someone's looking for that particular service you offer, they won't find your homepage. They will find that service page. They'll probably enter your site via that service page. They'll probably leave your site via that service page. They won't see your homepage. They won't see your testimonials page. They won't see your case studies. They won't see your blog posts. Unless they really go hunting for it, chances are they won't see that stuff. So look at that one page and say, right, someone doesn't know me from Adam. They've entered via a search engine. Am I ticking all the boxes? So you need a nice, gentle introduction to the page. Hopefully you need some personality, probably you on there, maybe a little bit of video, maybe a little quote, something like that. You need some more detail about the service, obviously broken up with some subheadings, so it's not just a mammoth 10 paragraphs of text. Yeah. Probably some frequently asked questions, probably some pricing information, definitely a testimonial, probably a link to a case study, and then hopefully a nice offer at the bottom, like, book a free discovery call on Calendly that people can book there and then. That on its own then ticks all the boxes. And if they want to go and read more testimonials or more blog posts or more case studies, they can do that. But even if they don't, you've given them everything they need to make a decision on, is this the right coach for me? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, completely. One of the biggest things I learned is actually from a web developer. And he was talking about it for call to actions. But he said, what I liked is he said, I'm aiming this at websites. I said, but this is for every call of action, or call to action, sorry. And I use it with all my clients now, everyone, elevator pitches, introductions, whatever you want to call them, everything. Treat everyone as if they are as thick as pig shit. Treat everyone as if they are. I said, you are for other people, they are for you. It's like, treat everyone as if they're thick as pig shit. You've given them a call to action, like you're saying, they go to your website, they found you on Google. Now what do you want them to do? Yeah. Right, you want them to go to your website. Now they've got to your website. Now what do you want them to do? Right, now they've done that. Now what do you want? He was like, honestly, just follow that trail and treat them as thick as pig shit. And you will honestly increase your traffic, your people wanting to book in with you, absolutely everything, astronomically. Absolutely.
People on the web just don't have, I'm as guilty as anyone. When you're on the web, you're scanning, you've got short attention span. If you can't see it there, you can't be bothered. You'll hit the back button. When it comes to those offers, it's the amount of times I see people, they have a website, they might have a lovely offer, but the button or the strip that promotes it, quite often they'll have, rather than a solid button, they'll have just an outline. So you've got a white page with basically a white button with some really thin, delicate text. So if you're scanning that page, you can't even see that button. And they'll only have it once on the page. So it's like, make that button really big, really bold, really colourful, make it stand out, and then put it in multiple places. Don't just put it at the end of the page, put it in the middle of the page, put it at the top of the page, put it in your header, put it on the right-hand side. It feels like overkill, but it's not, because people aren't going to be offended the fact that you've got 4 buttons on your page. But if they want that offer, they'll be glad you put that button there.
Yeah. It's also, I say this a lot without wanting to go on a massive tangent. I say this a lot with landing pages or funnels. I say this a lot about them. You look at anyone that's done them, there's buttons everywhere. You know where to click. There is no way else you could click. There is literally button after every section. After the video, there are buttons everywhere on it. Like, they've cracked it because you know where to click. Whereas you've got other people, like you're saying, well, should I say, if they've got too many different ones that take you too many different things, they start going down this absolute spiral. For me personally, I'm going, what was I looking at again? Like, what was I looking for? Like, I've ended up looking at a video of you on holiday when actually I was looking at your services. Like, what the hell am I watching here? I really don't know. But this is really awesome, obviously, because obviously you're doing graphic design, you started this. But you gave me one of your random, unknown facts that I asked for everyone. You've never been employed for a day in your life, have you?
No.
What? Elaborate. Go on.
That makes it sound like I'm a proper privileged upper class boy that's never needed money. But no, so I had a paper round when I was at school. I used to ride around on my bike, delivering papers. But so I went to college. Literally picked college randomly. Asked if they did interior design. They said no, we do graphic design. I went, yeah, that'll do. Ended up doing a graphic design course, which turned out pretty well in the end. And then between the first and second year of college, they said, right, you need some work experience. And most people didn't even bother. Most people on my course didn't even bother. But I took them to their word, and I went and found some work experience, and got the work experience there. Did that through uni, freelance designing through uni. When I came out of uni, I thought, why would I take a job? I want to work as a freelance designer. So literally, I worked for myself. Worked as a freelance designer for 5 or 6 years, and then my accountant said to me, right, you need to set up a limited company for tax purposes. So I said, right, cool. So I set up a limited company. Still did a bit of freelancing, built up the client work, and here I am.
Love it. literally, with no pun intended based on the branding, it's like a duck to water. Very similar to an extent. I've not done it as long as that, but I've been self-employed since the age of 2021. Don't get me wrong, I will say like I've done a bit of waitering in that time and things in the early stages. But I'm the same as you, I've been self-employed most of my adult life.
And now I'm unemployable. You probably are as well.
Probably, yeah. I have thought this. I was chatting about this a few weeks ago with someone about they said, would you be able to tolerate someone telling you what to do? I went, yeah, I think I could actually. I said I could tolerate a manager. I could tolerate, an upline and something like that. So I was like, because that's just respecting an authority figure. I went, so what couldn't you do? I went, work with idiots. Said that's what I couldn't do.
That's it.
I said I absolutely. If it was, I can work in teams. I can do everything. That's fine. As soon as there's an idiot. And I am throwing that term out there quite loosely. As soon as there's an idiot in there, I can't do it. I just can't. I don't mind admitting during COVID in the early stages, because it was all a bit up in the air, my now ex-partner got me a job at Aldi. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. It was great. As one of the, the temps that they brought in. I wasn't there very long, but absolutely loved it. But there was just this one guy, and he was just an idiot. And I just couldn't do it. Loveliest person you'd ever meet.
Yeah,
but he's just an idiot. And if he's watching as I'm talking about him, I'm not sorry. Like you are an absolute idiot. But loveliest guy I've ever met. But no, that's what I'm completely like you. Yeah, I think I'm not employable because of that aspect. But like I say to everyone, try employment. It's one of the biggest things to talk about with university students. A bit like yourself, actually. You're exactly saying. You can do it. You've got Etsy now. You've got Fiverr. If you don't know how to do it properly without hiring someone or chatting to someone. You've got all these, you've got Bark, you've got all these places now where you can put work on or find work and you'll get it. And it's just, it's just absolutely amazing. Okay. Second, final fact, and then we'll wrap up the show. So we're nearly done actually. That's flew by. You live, or should I say your first house was owned by your great grandfather and you didn't know?
I didn't know. Literally, I bought it a few months later. Got a copy of the deeds, and then the name on the deeds was listed because he was the first owner in 1905. He bought this house, and because he was the first owner, he was named in the deed as a restriction to say you can't do X, Y, and Z. And I looked at the name and I was like, no way. And I phoned my mum. She went, yeah, that's your great granddad, because I obviously didn't know. Crazy. So we had a big picture of him on the wall for years. Brilliant.
That is proper paths of a line there,
isn't it? It's weird.
It's
lovely, really. Yeah.
I absolutely love it. In the centre of the world, Tom. Oh, I'm curious. Honestly. But no, absolutely love it. Tom, believe it or not, when we've been talking for 25 minutes or so, it's absolutely flew by. Thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been absolutely amazing. I know obviously everyone can find you on LinkedIn and everywhere like that as well, can't they? And I know that you will do them a free website review because you are very lovely like that. I do indeed. So if you want one of those, evolvewebsites.co, nothing else on the end, just evolvewebsites.co, and you can get a review there. And happily put those together. My pleasure. Love it. Tom, don't go anywhere. I'm going to kick you backstage, and I'll talk to you in a minute when I wrap up the show. Thanks for having me, Callum. Hey, bye. Oh, love it, me. I need to click this button and that button because, power of show business, no one knows what I'm doing. Such a great show. Absolutely love getting Tom on. It was amazing. Absolutely amazing getting him on. Honestly. Sorry, just look at some of the comments, people. But no, fabulous. Remember, if you have watched on replay, please put #replay. And you can catch every replay on YouTube. And also, to the fabulous Alan from Yellow Tuxedo, thank you for showing me that YouTube works. I've only been going live on YouTube this week, so it's much appreciated. Next week, our first guest next week is Ellie Smeaton, so make sure you tune in on Tuesday at 9 o'clock. It's going to be absolutely awesome. And remember, from the week commencing the 11th of April, we are going to have Network Leaders Week, where it's everyone that is the founder or the owner of a networking organization, how they're all different, how they're changing the world, and it's going to be absolutely amazing. So tune in for that. Anyway, everyone, have a great day. Have a great end of your week. Have a fabulous weekend. And as I say every time, in the words of my nana, if you can't be good, be careful. If you can't be careful, don't get caught.